Pinagpalang araw sa lahat sa pangalan ng ating Panginoon at tagapagligtas, ang ating Panginoong Hesukristo. So magandang araw po sa lahat at welcome po sa ating channel. Sa puntong ito, gusto ko pong magkaroon ng isang series uli na kung saan sasagutin po natin ang mga masasabing arguing in circles na mga objection ng ilang mga atheists, particularly mula mismo sa mga objections ni Geraston. Well, kamakailan, na-discuss po natin ang mga rason kung bakit ang tunay na Diyos na nakaulat sa Biblia ay hindi talaga galing sa Canaanite origin. Take note, ang isa sa challenge po sa atin, kumuha ng mga evidence na nagpapatunay. Pero nung nag-present tayo ng evidence, sinasabi niya na, hindi, may bias kayo kasi ganito. Teka lang, gusto ko sanang i-pinpoint. No, bago tayo magtungo sa proper discussion, kumbaga ito, extended na lamang ito. Dahil magpapakita tayo ng ilang mga quotations mula sa mga nag-aral talaga. I would like to point out this way. First and foremost, to those who are atheists. Ngayon, pagka hinanapan po ng evidence yung mga claim nyo, you must have to research first bago kayo mag-conclude ng kung ano-ano. Kasi unfortunately, nakita ko mismo sa mga sa isa sa mga Facebook group na kung saan allegedly dinedebunk daw yung arguments ni Sir Jordan ng The Christian Worldview Project. At saka, I would like to quote something from dun sa movie na The Case for Christ na kung saan nung nag-usap yung dating atheist na si Lee Strobel at excuse me, si Dr. William Lane Craig. Dr. Craig point out this way, sabi niya, what if those enough evidence? Kumbaga, andyan yung mga ebidensya. Iyang tanong, sa sobrang pagdedemand ng mga evidence na ganyan, what if sapat na yan? Diba? So, this video is not only for Geraston only. It's for our atheist friends na bukas ang loob, bukas ang isipan to examine those things. And not only atheists as well. It is also for our brothers and sisters in the Lord na makikita natin na ang pagiging Kristiyano ay hindi lamang nakabatay lamang sa sinasabi ng ilan na blind faith di umano. We have evidence that supports it. That's why we trust the Lord our God. Ngayon, pag-usapan muna natin to. Bakit the God of the Bible versus the gods of Mesopotamia? So, titingnan natin kung totoo yung claim na ipinipinpoint sa atin na si Yahweh na ating Diyos ay galing lang daw di umano sa mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Kanaan at ng ilang bahagi ng Mesopotamia. I was just remember one of his comments sa Facebook na sinasabi niya na mangmang daw ako pagdating sa geography. Yan, napaisip ako, is this the way a highly rational atheist argued? Take note, kung yung paniniwala mo, kung yung stand mo ay talagang totoo, you don't need to be as defensive as it is na gagamit ka talaga ng halimbawa, red herring, ad hominem, whatever. You don't need that. Now, in defense of the reliability of the Bible, we are here to present those evidence. Ngayon, nasa mga kaibigan natin kung tatanggapin nila yun o hindi. Yan, kung sasabihin mo agad in the conclusion na hindi yan totoo kasi ganito, hindi naman reliable yun. I would like to point out yung isa sa sinabi ng isang atheist doon kay Geraston na hindi kasi kinuha yun sa inspired philosophy, ganito, kaya hindi yan legit. Gusto ko lang itanong, Nakita ba ninyo yung mga sources na ginamit ni Michael Jones ng inspired philosophy? Tingnan nyo ulit bago kayo mag-conclude kaagad eh. Anyway, let's talk about this. At theogony, nabanggit ko sa last video natin where we present why the God of the Bible is not originated from Canaanite origin. The theogony I mean, is an origin story or genealogy for a god or gods. In the various theogonies of the ancient Near East, individual gods always had a beginning, no matter how supreme they were. So dito pa lang, yung mga Diyos-Diyosan ng ancient Near East noon, yung mga Diyos-Diyosan nila, yung mga Diyos at Diyosa nila, mayroong simula, mayroong pinagmulan. Kumbaga, isinilang. Pero ano yung pagkakaiba nito sa Biblia, particularly the Old Testament? While theogonies differed between people groups in the ancient Near East, each people group was clear that the gods were in fact created. So please listen to this, no? Dahil mahalaga itong mga ebidensya na ating babanggitin. Walton helps us understand the various accounts of how the gods of the ancient Near East came into being. So sang-ayon kay Walton, dun sa mga records na yan, sabi niya, the mythology of both Mesopotamia and Egypt makes clear that the gods, yung mga Diyos-Diyosa nila, had origins. They exist in familial relationships and there are generations of gods. Tama pong yung narinig. So, basahin natin. When the text speak of theogony or origins of the gods, they include a number of elements in the presentation. In Egyptian literature, it is most common to think of the earliest gods coming into being through bodily fluids. Yung tipong sinasabi na nagdura daw yung naturang Diyos-Diyosa na yan, o kaya inubo, o kaya pinawisan, o kaya I guess you know what I mean. Pero mayroong ilang mga early deities, sabi pa nito, are simply born to a previous generation of deity. So isinilang daw. In the Memphite theology, the gods are brought into being by Atum, separating them from himself. One way that creation was expressed was by the mouth, which pronounced the name of everything. Typically, the first gods created are primordial cosmic gods, since the forces of nature are expressions and manifestations of the attributes of deities. Cosmogony and theogony become intertwined as the natural world comes into being along with the gods who embody the various elements of the cosmos. In short, sang-ayon kay Walton sa kanyang pananaliksik, yung mga Diyos-Diyosan na pinaniniwalaan ng mga tao ng mga ancient Near East, like yung sa Egypt at sa part ng Mesopotamia, mayroong simula, isinilang yung mga Diyos, ganon. They exist in familial relationships and there are generations of gods. Kaso, kung titignan naman natin ang Biblia, particularly the Old Testament na lang, for example, we can see that it does not contain a view of theogony at all. Doon pa lang sa first obvious evidence na si Yahweh ay hindi originated from Canaanite gods, napaka-obvious yung claims ng Panginoong Diyos na siya lamang talaga ang nag-iisang Diyos. The most obvious difference is, according to Walton, is seen in the absence of any theogony in Israel. The biblical text offers no indication that Israel considered Yahweh as having an origin, and there are no other gods to bring into existence either by procreation or separation. In short, hindi katulad ng mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Mesopotamia at ng Ehipto, ang Diyos ng Israel na siyang tunay na Diyos na ating kinikilala at sinasamba ay hindi nilikha, wala siyang pasimula. Kaya nga, I even point out dun sa aking discussion kay Jer Aston that the God of the Bible is a spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, moral, personal, and intelligent being who created all things and sustains all things. Whether he like it or not, ayan po isa sa mga obvious evidence na ang tunay na Diyos ay hindi kopya mula sa Canaanite origin at lalong hindi siya isinilang, hindi siya galing doon sa mga ganyong kultura noon. Okay, stark contrast one-on-one. This lack of theogony highlights an obvious difference between the Old Testament and the other ancient texts, and understanding the gravity of this difference allows us to see the foundation on which each culture derived its worldview. Hayes points out, ito si Hayes naman ang nag-research nito. Take note, we are just mentioning some of the scholars. I don't know kung Kristiyano tong mga to. I don't know kung mga tao na naniniwala sa Diyos talaga, ganyan. Hindi ko sinasabi na ganun. But I'm pointing out kung ano yung result ng kanilang pananaliksik. Wala namang ganung pananaliksik na kung saan pinatutunayan na mayroong napakalaking pagkakaiba between the God of the Bible versus the gods of Mesopotamia. So, let me read here. Hayes points out the stark contrast of what this means for the God of the Old Testament in comparison to the gods of ancient Near East myth. Ano ang kanyang sinabi? I just drank my coffee right now. Anyway, the absence of theogony in mythology means the absence of a meta-divine or primordial realm from which the biblical God emerges. It also means the absence of the idea that this God is immanent in nature, natural substances, or phenomena. Therefore, the biblical God's power and knowledge are not limited by the existence of any superior power or substance. In short, ang tunay na Diyos, gaya po na naikumpirma ng banal na kasulatan, we are talking about the Bible, hindi po siya tulad natin ng mga tao. At lalong hindi siya tulad ng mga Diyos-Diyosan na iniisip ng mga sinaunang tao noon sa Mesopotamia. Excuse me. Nature is not divine. The created world is not divine. It is not the physical manifestation of various deities. There is no intrinsic material connection between the deity and creation. The line of demarcation is clear. Absent po yung tinatawag na theogony sa Biblia. I was just going to ask Mr. Aston here, did you even dare to read the Old Testament as a whole? Did you even dare to examine kung saan sinasabi na merong simula si Yahweh? Now, tingnan natin ngayon yung tungkol sa pagkakaiba between the false gods of ancient Near East laban sa tunay na Diyos na nakaulat sa Biblia. So, kamusta yung mga gods ng ancient Near East? So, tingnan po natin ang mga sumusunod. In order to assess accurately the relationship between the ancient Near East and Old Testament, we need to understand how these cultures characterized the deities that they worshipped. Unahin natin yung tungkol sa immortality. Ayon kay Oswalt, regarding the behavior of the ancient Near East gods, ito yung kanyang note the gods are untrustworthy. Oh my gosh, dyan palang meron ng difference between Yahweh, the one true God, and those false gods. The gods are untrustworthy, seeking their own ends rather than caring for their worshippers' ends. They are constantly fighting among each other, often over the most petty matters. They are fearful especially of death, but they can do nothing lasting about their fears, for each of them, like the stars in their orbits, are fixed to a certain fate. They are limited both in knowledge and in power. So yung Diyos-Diyosan daw ng mga tao noon sa ancient Near East, una, hindi mapagkakatiwalaan, naglalaban-laban sa isa't isa. Nakakatakot yung mga Diyos-Diyosan na yan nung time na yan. At limitado daw ang kanilang kaalaman. Paano ito may kukumpara sa tunay na Diyos? Take note, as I been pointed out, malaki talagang difference between the one true God na nakaulat sa Biblia laban sa mga ancient Near East gods noong panahong yun. Diyan pa nga lang nakita na natin na sobrang laki ng difference. Okay, also, Walton expands upon the human characteristics of these deities. Listen, sabi ni Walton, what attributes did Yahweh not have that other deities possessed? Ano daw yun? Tingnan nyo. This list would include those attributes that assume a polytheistic system or human foibles. Ano ito? Craftiness, lust, deception, sexuality, and a host of others. Tanong, meron bang ganyang mga attribute sa tunay na Diyos? No. Our God is the source of what is good. Kung ano yung mabuti, that's it because of His nature. Our God is divine. I'm talking about Yahweh here. He is divine. He is just. He is holy. Hindi niya hayaan na ang kasalanan ay pumasok sa kanyang presence. But unlike the one true God, Yahweh, yung mga Diyos-Diyosan na yan ng Mesopotamia, halos kapareho sa karakter ng tao, lalo na pagdating sa pagiging selfish nito. Prangkahan yan, ha? Pero totoo yan. Quite often the characteristics attributed to a deity find their way into human society, known as imitatio Dei. This doctrine highlighted the belief that man can and should be godlike in his conduct. Thus, if the God was told, he was talking about gods of Mesopotamia, was told to do certain things, then the people were given license to do those same things. This, of course, often led on heinous acts on the part of the worshippers, particularly among those who worshipped the Canaanite god Baal. So, ngayon, ayon kay Gordon at Rendsburg sa kanilang pananaliksik, although we have only Canaanite deities involved in incest and bestiality, na kung saan pagdating sa Biblia, ayaw talaga ng tunay na Diyos yan, there can be no doubt that Canaanite people engaged in these acts as well. In Canaanite society, if one had the power, one exercised it, first the coveting and then by putting these thoughts into action. So, ngayon, Gordon and Rendsburg also give examples of transvestism, ritual prostitution, and incest in addition to bestiality and covetousness. Though we cannot know what percentage of the Canaanites would have taken in these actions of the gods, we can be sure that many did because of the noble manner in which they were portrayed. Diyan pa lang sa simula, meron na pong difference. Meron na talagang pagkakaiba between the true God of the Bible versus those false gods from Mesopotamia, na nagpapatunay na si Yahweh na ating Diyos ay hindi talaga galing sa Canaanite origin. Also, how about petulance? Unlike the God of the Old Testament, the gods of the ancient Near East were very easily offended, and the response to such offenses, listen to this, often led to an increase in giving, temple remodeling, treaties with neighboring peoples, etc. Kumbaga, yung mga Diyos-Diyosan ng ancient Near East, meron lang kaunting nagawang mali yung tao. Itong mga Diyos-Diyosan na to, madaling magalit. O ngayon, pagka-utos dapat daw gagawa ng kung ano-ano para lamang ma-appease yung mga Diyos na yan. Such whims often resulted in rituals designed to appease the gods. One such ritual was the substitute king ritual. I was just getting go on to drink my coffee again. Anyway, sang-ayon sa libro na Ancient Babylonian Medicine, Markham Geller summarizes this ritual. Anong sabi niya? A substitute king was appointed after an eclipse or unfavorable omen considered to be dangerous to the reigning king, and the ritual provided for the king to step down from his throne for a period of time or up to 6 months in favor of his substitute who was later executed, thereby fulfilling the ominous prediction. Pambira. Do you think gawain yan ba? Gawain din ba yan ng tunay na Diyos? What do you think? Natural characteristics, paano naman to? In speaking of the Sumerian gods in particular, Maillard shows how natural forces often characterize the gods. So kumbaga, halimbawa yung hangin, yung kulog, yung kidlat, yun daw naglalarawan sa mga Diyos-Diyosan nung time na yan doon sa Sumeria. Ano yung kanyang sinabi? The gods of the Sumerians were the powers of nature as revealed in the world. So the sun god was the sun and the power within it. Just as human activities are limited, so were the gods, each restricted to their own sphere. The myths show the gods acting their own positions. They fight to hold their place against evil powers that want to break down their ordered way of life. They quarreled over their areas of influence. They engage in trickery and show every kind of human emotion and vice. Here's my question. Yun bang mga characteristics na ito ng mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Sumeria noon? Meron bang ganyan ang tunay na Diyos na nakasulat sa Biblia? What do you think? Kayo po makapag-decide. Kamusta naman ang tunay na Diyos? Okay. Hindi muna ako magsasalita ng ilang segundo para basahin niyo yung source na yan. Okay? Okay, think about it. Hindi katulad ng mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Mesopotamia. Listen to this. In the Old Testament, Yahweh is not characterized with inherent human traits or those of nature, including sexuality. Opo. At kung talagang binasa po yung Biblia, particularly from the Old up to New Testament, you will see na walang mga ganyang karakter, mga attitude ang tunay na Diyos na gaya ng sa mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Mesopotamia. Also, Yahweh also does not contain any traits that would be considered evil or negative. Of course, this results in far fewer characteristics than those of the gods of the ancient Near East. Bakit? Yahweh's traits are primarily limited to those consistent with a monotheistic worldview: interiority, moral character, and formal relationships. So, in describing the difference between the Old Testament's Yahweh and the gods of the ancient Near East, Gordon and Rendsburg explained that Yahweh was never a specialized phenomenon of nature such as the sun. Yahweh is represented in the patriarchal narratives as being the supreme God who created heavens and earth. As his name indicates, he is the one who calls into being or the creator. Doon pa lamang makikita natin ang mga pagkakaiba sa pagitan ng tunay na Diyos na nakasulat sa Biblia laban sa mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Mesopotamia. Kaya yung claim na galing daw sa Mesopotamia area, particularly Canaan, ang Panginoon na si Yahweh, ang totoo, hindi naman talaga. And now Zoroaster claimed that I am allegedly foolish of not knowing geography. Excuse me. Anyway, Daniel Block echoes. Sabi niya dito, On the other hand, insofar as the gods of the nations outside Israel tolerated the worship of other divinities even by their own people, their absolute status as national deities was diminished. On the other hand, in Israel, Yahweh's position was to be unchallenged. His tolerance of rivals was total, particularly in the minds of the Orthodox Yahwist. However, the fact that he welcomed the worship of persons from outside the national group served as an additional limiting factor to his national deity status. While Yahweh had established a special covenant relationship with Israel, his true devotees proclaimed him simultaneously to be the universal God. So, hindi katulad ng mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Mesopotamia na mayroong kanya-kanyang mga tungkulin, mayroong kanya-kanyang mga tribo. The God of Israel, although he revealed himself first to Israel, he claimed that he is the God of all. Siya ang Diyos ng lahat, mula sa langit hanggang sa lupa. Now, if we'll go on to monotheism versus polytheism, it's very obvious naman eh. Diba? There are only three major world religions that posit in singular God. Yun nga, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Interestingly enough, all three of these monotheistic religions were derived, nawa ang Diyos ang magbigay sa akin ng magandang boses dito. Medyo nag-ano yan ang boses ko. Anyway, interestingly enough, all three of these monotheistic religions were derived from the Old Testament, which maintains the only consistently monotheistic view of God in the ancient Near East. So, regarding the Israelites' unique worldview, ano naman yung pahayag ni Oswald? Sabi niya, only one in the history of the world has a culture contrived to attain and maintain the idea of the absolute unity of deity. On every side of it, peoples far more brilliant than Israel were maintaining with vehemence the multiplicity of deity. Israel alone insisted on the oneness of God, even in the end to the death if necessary. So, unlike those deities, ini-insist na iisa lamang ang Diyos na sinasampalatayanan noon, lalo sa Old Testament era. At marami tayong mga passages sa Biblia na nagpapatunay, like sa Deuteronomy 6 verse 4, where it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." Ngayon, tingnan nyo. Ayon naman kay Con, sabi niya, ano daw yung difference between sa tunay na Diyos at sa mga ancient Near East gods? Anong kanyang pahayag dito? Yahweh is no mere chief of the gods. He is the one and only God. Yan ang isa sa main difference between the God of the Bible versus the gods of Mesopotamia, proving that Yahweh is not originated from Canaanite religion, or so to speak, Canaanite religions, right? So, tingnan nyo, kung mapapansin natin, kahit makikita po natin yung malaking difference between to the ancient Near East deities and to the God of the Bible. Talagang makikita at mahalata naman talaga yung mga pagkakaiba na nagpapatunay na first, hindi totoo yung argument na paulit-ulit na sinasabi sa atin ni J. Aston. Not at all. The teachings and literatures of the ancient Near East cultures run contrary to the Old Testament teachings of monotheism. While at times dabbling in monotheistic ideas, these cultures never fully embraced monotheism. So, they reverted to polytheistic philosophies. All of the ancient Near Eastern cultures, believe in a multitude of divine beings, and not one of these gods maintained a position of sovereignty over the rest. Paul Copan highlights the uniqueness of the monotheistic view of the Old Testament. Ayon kay Paul Copan, sabi niya, the Jews introduced a robust monotheism. Rather than being just one God in a pantheon of others or just a regional deity, Yahweh was and is the only deity who matters. Indeed, He is the only one who exists. Along with this, the Jews maling pagkabasa ko. The Jews introduced a new way to experience reality. There is a divine being who regularly personally engages humans, whose choices really make a difference. So hindi katulad ng mga Diyos-Diyosan na tila baga malayo sa mga tao. Ang tunay na Diyos na nakasulat sa Biblia, bagamat siya'y makapangyarihan sa lahat, bagamat siya'y banal, bagamat siya'y makatarungan, kahit tignan po natin ang Biblia mismo, nire-represent na alam ng Diyos kung anong pinagdadaanan mo. He cares for you. He loves you. He even proved it when He sent His Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for our sins and rose again from the dead. Do you think mayroon bang ganon ang mga ancient Near Eastern false gods na yan? Malabo. Kaya bukod dyan, napakalabo yung naturang objection na yan, na ang Diyos daw na nakasulat sa Biblia ay galing lang daw di umano sa mga ancient cultures ng Canaan. Napakalabo. Also, meron ding Old Testament polemics against polytheism. Kung makikita natin, lagi sinasabi ng Panginoong Diyos na siya lamang ang Diyos at wala ng iba. Oftentimes point to passages in the Old Testament that may imply the existence of other gods. These verses and many like them seem to call into question the belief that the people of Israel were purely monotheistic from the start. However, listen, however, it is always important to examine further evidence. Examine muna natin. Kasi mamaya magsabi, may mga Diyos naman doon na nakaulat sa Biblia, di ba? My friends, listen to this. Makinig pong mabuti. Polytheistic practices were in fact not representative of the Israelite religion of the Old Testament. Rather, the Old Testament would call out such practices as foolishness. However, this does not automatically assume that the Israelite people always live according to the teachings of the Old Testament. Ang pinakapunto diyan, kung papansinin natin yung records ng Biblia, ang mga Israelita noon, yes, they recognize that God is one, pero it sounds na hindi to komportable sa kanila. Kaya nga paulit talagang nag-commit ang Israel noon sa idolatry. Like Molech, Baal, Dagon, you name it, na siyang kinaayawan ng Diyos. Kaya sabi ng tunay na Diyos na si Yahweh, sabi niya, you should have no other gods before me. Napakalabo para sabihin si Yahweh raw ay galing daw sa Canaanite origins. Galing daw sa Canaanite religions? Really? Some scholars believe Exodus 20 verse 3 shows this polemic in the first of the 10 commandments. Okay, na-mention ko lang kanina. Alternatively, other scholars believe this verse shows that the Old Testament promotes henotheism, yung worship of one God even though others may exist. It's important to note that even though the author of Exodus was speaking against the worship of other gods, that does not mean he actually believed them to exist. Hindi porke nag-exist yung mga yan na naka-record dyan, ibig sabihin naniniwala na ba yung mga Old Testament writers doon? No. And by the way, ang belief ng henotheism, alam niyo kung kanino natin maririnig yung ganyang paniniwala na henotheism? Watchtower Organization. also known as quote-unquote Jehovah's Witnesses. Anyway, balik tayo. Even though the author of Exodus did not have a robust Trinitarian view of God, he likely took the same approach as the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 8 verse 4 to 6. Anong pahayag ni Apostol Pablo? So, although nababasa nyo sa English yan, pwede po natin mabasa yan sa Filipino. So, ano ang punto ni Apostol Pablo? So, pakinggan natin mabuti. Sa 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 4 down to 6. Anong sabi? Kaya tungkol sa pagkain ng mga inialay sa mga Diyos-Diyosan, alam natin na walang totoong Diyos na inilalarawan ng mga Diyos-Diyosan sa sanlibutan. At walang Diyos maliban sa isa. Sapagkat kahit may tinatawag na mga Diyos sa langit man o sa lupa, gaya ng pagkakaroon ng maraming mga Diyos at maraming mga Panginoon. Quoting Deuteronomy 6 verse 4, and Paul expanded it sa verse 6, anong sabi niya? Ngunit para sa atin ay may iisang Diyos, ang Ama, na siyang pinagmulan ng lahat ng mga bagay, at para sa Kanya tayo nabubuhay, at may isang Panginoon si Jesucristo na sa pamamagitan niya ay nagkaroon ng lahat ng mga bagay, at sa pamamagitan niya tayo ay nabubuhay. Wow, sounds like Trinitarian to me. Now, lastly, on the other hand, even if the author did believe other lower gods to exist, this does not necessarily detract from the monotheistic trust of the Old Testament. Though often hotly debated in terms of its translation and intent, Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4 lays a strong claim to the fact that there is only one God. This does not show an inconsistency between the passages or a contradiction, but instead serves as an instance of a polemical theology in order that the people of Israel would understand that there is only one God to worship another, and to worship another is nonsensical. So there you have it. Meron tayong ilang mga evidence na siyang ipinahayag ng ilang mga scholars na nag-aral dyan. There are some na I don't know if they're Christian or atheist or whoever they are, but they insist na ang Diyos ng Israel ay hindi talaga katulad ng mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Mesopotamia. Hindi siya katulad ng mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Kanaan. In fact, kung babasahin lamang natin yung Biblia talaga, and if Chair Aston is really reading the Bible, before making some sort of conclusion, anything other that, makikita natin na ang tunay na Diyos, ayaw niya ng idolatry. May pahayag nga na ang sinabi doon sa Bible, worship God alone and serve Him only. Napakalinaw. So, here is my question. Gaya po ng mga nabanggit, kung talagang galing sa Canaanite origins ang tunay na Diyos na nakaulat sa Biblia, then bakit wala daw ng ilang mga characteristics mula sa mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Mesopotamia na nakaulat doon? Yung mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Mesopotamia at kahit yung Canaan, mayroong asawa, nanganak pa ng mga Diyos. Nag-aaway-away pa yung mga Diyos. Nagdedeklara ng kung ano-ano. Minsan pa nga yung mga Diyos-Diyosan na yan namamatay pa. But unlike those deities, the God of Israel, who is the God of all, He is spaceless, He is outside the universe, He is spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, moral, personal, and intelligent being who created all things and sustains all things. Kaya nga sinabi niya kay Moises, I am that I am. He is who He is. He is the self-existent being. And now, Mr. Jer Aston wants us to believe na si Yahweh, na Diyos na nating lahat galing daw sa Canaanite beliefs? Yan, kung sasabihin niya na, hindi, may supernatural bias ka, whatever. Really? So it means to say na kung tama yung point niya, siya ay nag-commit din ng anti-supernatural bias. That's it. As I even point out in what Dr. Craig told to Lee Strobel sa movie na yun, na The Case for Christ, maybe totoo talaga yun kasi nangyari yun sa buhay ni Lee Strobel. Ang sabi ni Dr. Craig kay Lee Strobel, what if those evidences enough evidence? Paano nga kung yun na talaga? Kasi it's up to you if you will go on to, if you choose to follow it or not. This video is not only intended to Jer, but to all of us who are watching this, whether you're a Christian or an atheist or whoever you are. We have seen that the God of the Bible, Yahweh, is very unique. He declared himself to be the great I am. There's no one like him. Kung mababasa natin sa Isaiah chapter 40 to chapter 48, mayroong challenge doon ang tunay na Diyos laban sa mga Diyos-Diyosan niya yan. At kung titingnan natin the conclusion, nanalo si Yahweh. Bakit? Hindi gaya ng mga peking Diyos na yan na nag-insist na kaya daw yung mga ganito or whatever, even though mayroong limitasyon. Ang tunay na Diyos, limitless. He is who He is. And I encourage everyone, including our atheist friends, that instead of drawing out to the conclusion, examine the Bible first. Compare it to the so-called gods of Mesopotamia. Ikumpara nyo rin to sa mga tinatawag na Diyos-Diyosan ng mga Kanaanita. And you will see that the God of the Bible is unique. That the God of the Bible is not like those deities na napaparam. Wala ang Diyos na buhay, wala siyang simula, wala siyang katapusan. The God of the Bible declared to be the Alpha and the Omega. He is who He is, whether we like it or not. I would like to end this video right now. The first series, second na pala ito, as response to Mr. Jer Aston. To say or to conclude anything without any examination, it is just a joke. I was just posting some links from other Christian apologetics YouTube videos like Inspired Philosophy. Yung pagsasabi na hindi raw legit yon, here's my question to ask. How did you know that? What do you mean by that? How did you come to the conclusion na hindi legit yung mga evidence niya? Nakita niyo ba yung mga quotations na naibanggit mula mismo sa mga libro? To draw the conclusion quickly without even examining those evidence, it is just a joke at all. How come that they claim to be highly rational, doon pa lamang sarado na ang isipan? Hindi man lamang tinignan. Why? Dahil ba ayaw nila na mapamunuan sila ng tunay na Diyos sa buhay nila, na sa totoo lang, hindi naman siya malayo sa atin? That in spite of the fact that we are wretched, tayo pa rin ay kinakalingan ng Diyos. Well, that's all for this video. And to Jer Aston, instead of saying anything with personal attacks against me, i-examine mo muna yung mga evidence. Examine mo muna. You challenged me for looking those evidence, right? I did it already. And yet you claim that nagkuha lang daw ako sa mga nakuha ko daw ito sa mga supernatural biases or whatever. Excuse me. Whether we like it or not, mayroong kani-kanyang bias ang tao. Don't declare yourself to be neutral. Walang ganun. When the God of the Bible says that He is who He is, that He alone is God and no one is like Him, yan ay absolute. Malaki ang pagkakaiba niya sa mga Diyos-Diyosan ng Mesopotamia at ng Kanaan. Well, whether you like it or not, at the end, sa Kanya tayo mananagot. We are wretched. Hindi po tayo karapat-dapat kung tutusin. Subalit, sa kabila ng katotohanan na siya ay makapangyarihan sa lahat, na siya ay dakilang hukom, siya ay Diyos na mapagmahal. Yes, tama po. As the Apostle John said, God is love. And according to Apostle Paul, God demonstrated His love for us, that while we are still sinners, Christ died for us. Well, sa susunod na installment ng ating pagsagot sa mga objection ng ating kaibigan, bibisitahin naman natin yung tungkol kay Noah at sa nangyaring baha. After all, yan po yung challenge sa atin. So let's visit those evidence dun sa mga mismong patotoo ng mga talagang mga eksperto. Take note, I don't know if those people were Christians or not. I don't know if those people were atheists. I don't know. I was just quoting those sources na nagpapatunay doon. And at this point, yan lamang po sa video na to. At nawa, we have learned something about it. I recommend everyone to read some books like, for example, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist by Norman Geisler and Frank Turek. Stealing from God, Why Atheists Need God to Make Their Case by Frank Turek. Cold Case Christianity by J. Warner Wallace. Ano pang book? Evidence That Demands a Verdict by Josh McDowell and Sean McDowell. I even mentioned those books na kung saan makikita nyo na talagang ni-research talaga nila yung mga claims, like scientific and philosophical evidence that supports that God really exists and that Jesus rose from the dead. Well, it's up to you to decide, my friends. And I would like to ask in this final point na ating inira-raise up. If Christianity were true, would you become a Christian? If Christianity were true, would you become a Christian? Well, that's all for today. Abangan niyo po yung susunod na video natin where we will discuss the facts about Noah and the flood. Kung talagang kopya lamang daw di umano yan sa Epic of Gilgamesh and so forth. So abangan niyo po yung next installment po natin. God bless you guys. Jesus is Lord. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.